Hi, Julie Jones from SSB Performance, Smarter, Stronger, Better Mindset Training, here with this week's Mindset Made Simple Tip of the Week, brought to you by Game Day Sportswear. This week we're talking about the words we use and how they affect our performance, and the fact that we need to choose our words wisely. Oops, I did it again. And as soon as I did it, I thought of my coach's words when she told me years ago that I was the dumbest smart person she had ever met. Thanks. I don't know if that was a compliment or a backhanded compliment, but either way, I think she was onto something because I was moving along. If you read tip 173, you know that I wrote about modeling because I was mentally rehearsing all these different moves because I couldn't do them because I had hurt my back and things were going great. And then I tried to step it up a notch, which knocked me back to worse than when this started. So starting from scratch again. I don't know if it was the frustration of that or the pain, but my negative Nelly bad talker came out in full force. My back is killing me, I said. It's not killing me. It's not. I'm perfectly fine in all reality. This is ridiculous. Or, oh gosh, that is just horrible. I mean, really? I can still walk, I can still move, I can still think, but my words made it seem like I was like on the 10 on that scale they show you at the doctor. And I was pretty high up. At 10, no. Then it really hit me. I was rolling over in bed, which was hard to do at first, and I got myself situated. I was like, that wasn't bad. And those words smacked me right in the face as if someone yelled at me, that wasn't bad. Why am I using the word bad? I was improving. Why choose bad? Why do I have to throw bad into improvement? Immediately, I thought, nope, not going down this road. That was good. I am making progress. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm making progress. I changed the words I was using, which changed the way your body functions. Dr. Caroline Leaf says this, as you think, you change your brain. And when we engage in negative self-talk, our amygdala, which is our fear center, gets flooded with cortisol, flooded with that stress hormone, which affects our immune function. It affects our ability to focus. It affects our mental ability in general. It affects our motor skills. And it can even slow recovery. So the words that we use matter. And we need to be thinking about what those words are. We do it so often that it just seems normal. In his recent podcast episode, Dr. Andrew Huberman, this episode was called A Science-Supported Journaling Protocol to Improve Mental and Physical Health. He cites research from Vine et al. And the research showed that the use of a variety of emotional words correlated to well-being. So if we have a vast vocabulary of words that are positive, we lean towards better well-being, less neuroticism, less depression, better affect. If we have a vast vocabulary of negative words, we use those more often, we don't fare as well. We're more anxious. We're more depressed. In general, we don't function as well. Physically, we don't function as well. So our vocabulary alone affects our physiology. This is crazy if you think about it. But our brains are incredibly sensitive to the words that we use. That flood is a choice. We are choosing by the words that we use to flood ourselves with stress hormone. Why would we do that? No doubt, and research shows that if we're too high in cortisol, our performance lacks. Now we have to have some stress that makes us get out and get going, but too much is going to be a hindrance. So we need to think about the words that we choose. We do it so often that we don't even notice that we are doing it. Think about how many times you throw a negative word into a sentence, or when someone's talking, you automatically go to the negative side. I tried this with a group that I was working with about customer service, and we did the improv, like, it's your line, and whose line is it anyway? That's what it called, with Wayne Brady and Drew Carey. And it took two people to get through to something negative. I started them off with a story that had nothing to do with anything negative. One person added to it, the next person added to it, and the third person, boom, right down a negative path. It goes that quickly. It's just a part of who we are. We think that it makes us a realist. We think that it's better to just barrage ourselves with negative things than let it happen from the outside. If we talk about how bad we were, then somebody else will be like, oh, I don't need to tell her, she already knows. But we're really sensitive to these words, and our physiology is sensitive to these words. So we need to think about how we can get from these negative discussion points that we have with ourselves and with others to words that help us move forward. It's like going to the doctor. And what's the doctor tell you? All the things you can't do. Well, I went to the doctor with hundreds of kids as a coach, and my question to the doctor always was this: what can she do? I'm not so sure all the athletes wanted to answer to that. But we even made a sheet when we were at Akron that said, injury options. One side was for upper body injuries. Here's all the things you can do. One side was for lower body injuries. Here's all the things you can do. And then in conjunction with the trainer or the strength staff and us, we would circle the things that the athlete could do. This made them stay engaged, stay focused, move forward. They weren't just sitting over or standing by the water cooler, which drove me crazy. But we're making progress thinking about what we can do. So we need to make ourselves a mental list of what we can do, or the words that we should be using. Maybe we have pre-planned responses to our negativity. Okay, when I say this, as I'm throwing this in, because sometimes it's just harder to, when you're under pressure in particular, to make that shift. But if we have a plan, then we know, okay, if I go down this way, here's where I go. Our if-then, or implementation intentions, those are called. So we need to think about what tools can we use. First of all, we need to become aware, right? We know that. So we notice and we throw in a different thought. We are never going to get away from our negative thoughts. We're always going to have them. It's just how our brain works. But we don't have to be fused to them. We can think about ways to pull ourselves apart, and the best way to do that is to notice and then change. You'll notice, if you read last week's tip, I said when I talk about hitting, I say identify, decide, act. We can do the same thing with this. Identify, there it is, there's my negative Nelly coming out. Decide that we're going to take a different route. Commit to it, we're going to add one step. We're going to commit to a positive statement, or not even positive, or not necessarily happy, something productive, something neutral, and then we're going to say it, or act, or change whatever comes next. Because identifying and then deciding and then committing and then acting is much better than just going with the flow of whatever words are coming out and falling into this trap of, oh, my back is killing me, or I'm starving. No, you're not. You're not starving. You can live off the land a while. I know we all can. The words we use matter. We need to make a shift. So whether we make ourselves a list like we had for our injuries, or we have pre-planned statements. Every time I get in this situation, I know I get negative, so prepare for it. But we need to understand that if we can cultivate more productive use of language and use more constructive self-talk, that we are going to change the way our body functions. We'll even speed up our recovery, or at least keep it on track and not hinder it. So, I think I have a quote here somewhere. I don't, but I do have a challenge for you. Let's see how long we can go without negative talk today. Can you do it with me? You know I need help and a chiropractor. But I'd love to challenge you to see how long you can go without using a negative word or vocalizing in your own head, or vocalizing something negative to somebody else. How can we shift? Now, this does not mean we pretend. It doesn't mean we suppress. It's just substituting in something more productive to help everyone you're around and to help you. So let's try it today. It's going to be hard. I know it will be. How can we do this? Notice, identify, decide, commit, and act. Let's see how long we can go today. I'd love to hear how you did. I'll tell you next week how I did, but this is a great challenge for us, because if we can change the words we use, we can change the way we function, and that's a positive thing for our performance. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Until next week, have a great week. Think about the words you have, grow those positive word vocabularies, go get your Webster's dictionary and start looking at them and throw them in, pepper them in, and make things great. Have a great week.